Fighting games are. What would we say fighting games have been doing for these last couple of weeks? I'm personally kind of over here still just in terms of when I try to think of gaming news. I'm currently, for the moment, still just a little bit stunned by the EA thing. But
yeah.
There was. Well, I guess we could say fighting games are C.Viper.
Yeah, fighting games are C.Viper. If you really want to, we really want to meme with it, then we can say that fighting games are removing motion inputs from existence.
What game is doing this now?
Oh, it's the current trend, seemingly.
Oh, well, at some level, that's been the trend for several years, because it's just a thing of, trying to satisfy the people who've been saying, I can't play fighting games because the motion inputs are archaic.
Yeah. But, aside from that, nothing in particular. There's nothing new under that topic. It's just, people have been discussing it a lot more recently that I've seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, C.Viper.
C.Viper, yes. So, neither of us are big C.Viper players. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. We need to call Pink real quick on his personal phone. We have the number 2, of course, but he can give his 2 cents.
Though, even then, it's to a certain degree. Well, Pink doesn't really play C.Viper. He just, whenever we force him to play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Street Fighter 4, he'll play C.Viper, once or twice because she has large boobs, and that's it.
True.
So, we don't know what exactly is going on with C.Viper, what's supposed to be going on with C.Viper. With that said, on social media, what I have seen is generally C.Viper fans going, yes, this is C.Viper. I am glad to have C.Viper.
Yeah.
And Sagat fans going, what the fuck? She still gets to be her? She gets to keep her gameplay identity. Meanwhile, I have to lose Tiger Shot in favor of Leg.
I mean, to be fair, there's a large, I don't know. Maybe I didn't play enough Street Fighter 4. But I feel like there's a large difference between, zoning god, Sagat, and the C.Viper who jumps.
Yeah. Oh, shit. And plus, it's not like there haven't been characters or returning characters that go into Street Fighter 6 where their identity has changed because of new tools being stronger. Zangief has become more and more Normal's man with each game. Street Fighter 6 especially. And you don't see Zangief fans bitching, all I'm saying, except for the ones who do, but shut up, though. Anyways, C.Viper looks good. I was curious to see what they would change about her, because she can't stay her Street Fighter 4 self in Street Fighter 6. She'd be a wimp.
Very curious to see Viper.
Oh! All right, anyways. It makes a lot of sense that she gets a new special move that is basically focus attacks, because, C.Viper really is, Capcom wanted Abel to be the face of Street Fighter 4, and I think everyone agreed, no, it's C.Viper. Shut up. C.Viper and then Jury, but Jury wasn't there for vanilla Street Fighter 4, so she's weird.
Yeah, no, Jury is Jury is okay. It's weird to say, but or might come out weird, I guess. But C.Viper is the face of Street Fighter 4. Jury is a face of Street Fighter. She completely bypassed the per game thing, and she has just made herself an icon of Street Fighter.
Yes, if Street Fighter 7 doesn't have Jury, it's gonna be like, what the fuck, where's Jury? And it's Jury to Street Fighter 4 is like Cammy to Street Fighter 2. Of where there are people who play vanilla Street Fighter 2 or vanilla Street Fighter 4 and go, what the fuck? Where's Cammy? Where's Jury?
Yeah.
And conversely, of course, this also works. The other newcomers that came in those same games, much less significant reputations.
Yeah.
I was about like, oh god, like I was going to say like, well, at least the other newcomers of Super Street Fighter 2 got to come back. The new challengers got to come back, but like Fei Long pretty well stopped appearing at the same time Hakan did, which is funny to think about.
Yeah, they killed each other.
And T-Hawk somehow just died.
Yeah,
but he was reincarnated into the body of a little girl.
T-Hawk just exploded spontaneously. No one knows why. He just did.
His soul just abruptly departed his body and entered a little girl's, and the previous T-Hawk body just dropped like a sack of bricks. Excuse me.
So yeah. I guess
C.Viper. Okay.
The other thing, the one thing that I really noticed is that C.Viper seems to have uni jumps.
What do you mean uni jumps?
So Under Night has this mechanic, which I don't believe any other fighting game has, or at least I can't really think of any that has this, but they might, where you have a button bound to short hops. And,
okay.
And you can use this to do short hops and do traversal stuff. And with C.Viper, she seems to have a new special that has the same arc as those short hops.
All right.
So that's what really caught my eye.
Noticed.
Yeah.
I noticed there was a strong focus on the super jump this time, which was something I kind of forgot that C.Viper had in her original kit.
I didn't know that she had that in her original kit.
Yeah, it's weird. Excuse me. And of course, she now can spin drive meter to cancel various special moves into themselves, which is having characters that have weird shenanigans around the drive meter that other characters don't do is interesting. We haven't seen it a whole lot. Yeah. It's an interesting thing with Luke, because Luke has weird shit tied to drive meter. I forget what I know he has where he can do double sandblast instead of just EX sandblast. What else did Luke have from extra drive meter?
For 3 bars, he can send you to Memphis.
Yeah, okay.
I can help you with that. Like the last time I played Luke was the demo to Street Fighter 6. So
yeah, that's understandable. Oh man, all right. What was I going to say? Aesthetically, I like her new look. I like her classic look also being in the game. They both are good. I think there is something, I understand the change to her hairstyle. It'd be weird if she kept the same hair. But there is something very distinctive about her Street Fighter 4 hairstyle. With it being that she's got her hair done up like there's a snake running down the back of her head and all the way down her spine,
Yeah. I don't really like her new look, but that's mainly because the skirt. Like, I think I made a note of this when she was announced. Like, I just don't like there's skirts are very restrictive in movement. So, to me, like, depending on the fighting style, but generally most women fighters shouldn't wear skirts because they're restrictive, or they should be those like whatchamacallit, the cut up skirts where it allows for freer movement.
Yeah.
Which this is not. This is very obviously like whatchamacallit. Oh bloody hell! I'm forgetting the term. Whatever. Like it's very much an office worker like dress skirt.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm fine with it because to a certain degree, I'm just used to like warriors wearing skirts, and it's a fairly short skirt, so that's not the end of the world. But like, God, I forget who, but there's other characters that have worn skirts in the past. Isn't there at least one male fighter in Street Fighter that's wore at least a little bit of a skirt?
Probably Honda.
Oh yeah, Honda. I was thinking like, well, there's got to be like a Greek themed fighter at some point that wore a little bit of a skirt.
Marisa, she's the closest.
Yeah, though she's got like that skirt that's like just little straps, so
Yeah.
very high maneuverability. Did Gil not have a Greek style skirt going on at some point?
I don't remember. He might have.
Excuse me. Either way, yeah. C.Viper looks like a fun character. She looks like she's probably not going to be too much of a demon to fight, which I think is good for a lot of players. That's always a thing to worry about with fighting game trailers. So, I think there's not a whole lot more to say about C-Viper. Oh, you know what? There is one thing to say about C.Viper.
What?
Did you see people notice her ID that she burns up?
I noticed people noticing, but I don't know what they noticed.
So, the ID that she burns up in her win pose is the ID for... Okay, do you remember the part of World Tour Mode where you go up in the tower and you fight the fridges up there?
Yeah.
And there's like at some point a puzzle you have to do. And there's a red-headed scientist who's like, hey, yeah, do this puzzle.
Yeah.
C.Viper was that red-headed scientist.
Nice.
And the ID she's burning up is her not SIN. What's the name of JP's company?
CERN.
Yeah, she's burning up her CERN ID for that character, Cheryl, I think her name was.
Ah.
That's a really nice attention to detail. They're like, actually, I like that they're going in a little bit more this time with the idea that C.Viper is a spy, you know?
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4, it was just kind of a thing that informed you, like, oh, well, this is what she's doing. But you didn't see her engaging in like espionage. But here it's like, yeah, she's got a hidden identity. And on top of that, her whole story is lying to JP and saying that she's some kind of scientist, some kind of inventor, whatever nonsense.
Yeah. And being gay for jury.
Yes. Well, who knows how deep cover that really is. I hope there is going to be a part in the arcade mode where she says, oh, yeah, that part, I mean, the crimes were lies, but yeah, me and Jerry had some fun.
Yeah. I had to abandon her once my daughter started calling her mom too.
Oh, shit.
The Marvel Collection sold 1 million units.
I heard about this. That is very cool.
Yeah. It means nothing.
No. We have no idea what the hell this could possibly mean. Because there is still the leak that said that Marvel is working with both Arxis and Capcom on fighting games at the same time. But it's just like, anytime you see that, it's like, yeah, but why? Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Because you and me will play every fighting game we can get our hands on. That's just how we work. But Joe Blow down the row is going to go like, why would I buy 2 Marvel fighting games?
To give Marvel more money. Obviously. Like, see that on one hand, this is the reason. Like, on one hand, I think it's stupid to release like 2 competing products at the same time. On the other hand, I could see there being a board meeting where a guy is like, no, make 2 games because two games make more money than 1 game.
Hey, the other guys are like, you are so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But as Arxis and Capcom are exiting Marvel's, headquarters, This guy chases them down with the stolen documents already signed with everything.
Yeah.
Sign it now! Sign it now! They called me a madman. They'll see. They'll all see. This will make all the money.
Just when they think that Marvel is dead, Marvel will be back. will it ever? Also, here's more money. Make Darkstalkers 6.
Yeah! I stole it from Mickey! Oh, shit.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. Spider-Man and Ghost Rider were playable at TGS.
Yes, I have not looked at them with too much detail, other than seeing that Ghost Rider is the very strong reaction I saw was people going, "Oh, thank God, Ghost Rider isn't Axel Low."
Yeah.
I nearly called him Axel Rose. So that I guess that's going on. We're getting rushed down Ghost Rider. I did not see much of Spider-Man, except I saw somebody showing off his movement tech.
Yeah.
Apparently, he has web zip and he has web swing. And it's like, okay, yep, these are logical. Why does he have the ability to do the upside down, suspend himself from the ceiling, go up and down shit?
Why not?
I mean, that is very Spider-Man, but what use is that going to be in a fighting game?
Chib's enough.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Oh, dear Lord, if Spider-Man can access instant air overheads from that.
Another question is, will Spider-Man be regular Chip or will he be Dark Chip?
An excellent question.
Alright then, Joe Higashi and his new glasses. Released. I think.
Yes, I have not been paying too much attention to this. I think it is generally in agreement that there are just some people that are like, oh, we hope Fatal Fury does well, but we understand why it wouldn't. And other people that are like, nope, not touching it. Right?
Yeah. There's a group, like, from my experience, there's a group that likes the gameplay and goes like, man, I wish all of the fuckery wasn't in this game. And there's the group who won't touch it at all.
Because of the fuckery.
Yeah.
I think part of that also comes down to it's just Joe. And I like Joe a lot. I don't love Joe, but I like Joe a lot. Nobody's getting hyped up over Joe.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I were in SNK's place, I would have considered swapping Joe out for one of the new characters. Put Joe on the launch roster and put, I don't know, Preacha in the DLC. Because Preacha, people will be like, what'd she do? And that would make them excited. Whereas Joe, it's like, we know what he does. He's not going to do anything different.
Yeah. It occurred to me that, like, they take Joe out of the DLC. All right, here, Freeman. It's like I would have been.
That would be the opposite of a solution.
Like I would have liked Freeman, but at the same time, like I just like Freeman. I like him being around. Just as much as Kevin Ryan. So if Kevin Ryan's on the roster, then Freeman should be as well.
Yeah. I don't keep my ear to the ground super hard on this stuff, but I think people are kind of on old Freeman.
I mean, from my understanding of Freeman, like his fandom is like, Freeman's cool, he should be around, I guess. He is just Lamer Carmine from uni. Which, yeah, all of that is true.
A character that was created 10 to 20 years later than him. Oh, shit. Oh boy! All right. So yeah, not a lot to say about Joe. Joe be Joeing, you know.
Yeah. Project L is out.
It is?
Yeah,
What? Just like anyone can play?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh. Well, if I use my brain later, I might download it and try it. However, at the current moment, I have not, because I have not been paying attention to this fucking game. I did see they finally released a trailer for Teemo, so whoop-de-doo. Yeah, I'll try Project L myself at some point, and I will report back.
Yeah. Or wait, no, actually, I'm wrong. It's coming out on October 7th.
Okay, that's a lot more reasonable. I would have thought people would have saw people going more nuts on social media. I was like, oh no, I finally lost my mind. Took me long enough, frankly.
All right. Tekken 3 and Soul Calibur 3 are coming to PS Plus.
Oh yes, I saw this. Well, allegedly there's also just going to be a straight Soul Calibur 3 and port that you can just buy, and you don't need PS Plus, and that's probably going to be what I do, because I'm not going to pony up for PS Plus just to have that. I bought the Time Splitters trilogy, just so I wouldn't have to bother with the PS Plus subscription. So that's what I'm going to do for Soul Calibur 3. Nonetheless, that is radical. I know that Sony probably bankrolled this in part just so they could have this as a thing for their system and not everyone else. But it would be like, hey, nice if like, hey, Bamco, put all of these on all of the systems, please.
They might. I mean,
nonetheless,
like, here's the thing. It's not Tekken 5, but they did say about Tekken 5, I think, Carla did, that like there was a survey that they did, and it showed that people wouldn't be willing to buy it, more or less, if they did a port or remaster of the older Tekkens. So if this sells well, it might convince Bamco to actually fucking try. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily call for a remaster, though. Nowadays, they remastering is much different deal now, because they'll probably just file the stuff through an up-resing AI, which God knows how much that would even cost. Like, I would happily just pay for a straight port of Tekken Tag 2. No improvements. Just give me Tekken Tag 2.
They are never gonna port Tekken Tag 2.
Probably not. That game kind of shit in their mouths. It doesn't have Gone, though, and I thought Gone was pretty well stopping Tekken 3 from existing.
They replaced Gone with, I don't know, Clive from Final Fantasy.
You said Clive, and my brain filled him in with Lars. That's how fucking lame Lars is, that I think of him as a Final Fantasy character. He wouldn't look... No, he'd still be stupid in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
What a fucking dip.
So yeah, that's the thing. Let's see. Virtual Fighter had a showcase where they showed nothing, but talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard about this. It was like a complete disappointment for everybody who tuned in.
It wasn't a showcase, it was a talk case.
All right.
I'm trying to see if I can find what they actually talked about, but I can't. So that's cool.
Sucks for them.
But yeah, like it was something along the lines of like they're trying new rule sets and shit. Like it's gonna be, from the sounds of it, they might be attempting to turn Virtua Fighter into Fighter's Destiny, which is certainly a fucking move.
Okay, explain, because I can't. Fighter's Destiny is one of those names that gets thrown around, and I never remember what the hell it means.
Fighter's Destiny was the good fighting game of the N64 outside of Smash. Allegedly.
Okay.
But Fighter Destiny is like the closest you can get to a traditional fighter on the N64. But instead of a normal health-based system, they went for a more sports team. So you have a scoring system. And so, like, depleting the enemy's health gives you a point. Throwing them gives you 2 points. And stuff like that. Ring outs give you a point. Hitting an unblockable, which kills people immediately, gives you 3 points, I think. And if you hit a super, that's like 7.
Okay.
And yeah, so there, instead of it, being the regular thing of KOing people, you go until one side has enough points, whatever the points threshold was set to. Usually it's like, I think 8 or like 9, something like that. But yeah, so that's whatchamacallit, that's the way Fighter's Destiny works. And what I heard is that Virtual Fighter RGG, Yuga Gotoku Studio, they're looking to move away from the health-based system and look into alternative scoring methods, which sounds similar to that, just off of that.
I thought I heard they were saying they wanted there to be like at least 2 different styles of play.
3.
And when they said that, my brain went, okay, they're going to have classic health mode, but they're also going to have where it's just score based on knockdowns.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what comes of that.
It will.
Then Virtua Fighter 5 Revo is gonna be getting an open beta test from October 1st to the 6th.
Okay. I think we talked about this before, and I said I wasn't. I'm not going to participate because it's Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah.
It's going to be Virtua Fighter 5 with some changes. But nonetheless, good for Virtua Fighter fans. I imagine they are very confused right now.
Why?
Because on one hand, they're getting Virtua Fighter 6, and they're like, hey, something new, sweet, all right. And on the other hand, they're getting Virtua Fighter 5 again, and they're kind of like, okay.
I actually saw a positive reaction to them releasing Virtua Fighter 5 again, because the best way to play Virtua Fighter 5 for tournaments was booting up Lost Judgment before this.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, in that case, my bad, I misspoke. It's understandable.
Then, Real Bad Fatal Fury 2 was released on Steam.
Okay. It's weird how we forced SNK to do that.
Yeah. They saw how Kim kicking Krauser in the shin made the game collapse so hard that it couldn't recover, and they went, oh shit, we need to patch this now.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's good to see more porting forward of old games.
Yeah.
And Real Bout 2 is a good game. We have played it, and we have seen it, and we have enjoyed it.
Yeah, we've played it, and you will see us playing it in 2 years. No joke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
So yeah, like I appreciate this, because the only the only official way to play the game before this Steam release on modern hardware was on the PS4, where it's emulating the PS2 port. So
yes, and it doesn't feel good.
So yeah,
and it's one of those
really
things where you can tell it's a good game, but the port is just making it feel way too off.
Yeah. Then the Capcom Cup 12 finals will be a pay-per-view.
I heard about this.
People are freaking out because they have to pay for. Like people were really hyped about being esports, and now they are freaking out that they have to pay for esports.
Yep. And I think it's only a matter of time now that Evo is in the hands of whoever it's in the hands of. That Evo will probably also be going on pay-per-view soon as well.
Yeah.
And if people are not ready for that, they better get ready for it.
Yeah, turns out you can't be like, I want my players to live a life where like I want my players to be able to sustain themselves off of just their tournament winnings, and also go, I want grassroots tournaments.
Technically you can have both, but it's an exceptionally small amount of people that can live off their tournament winnings. But that was always going to be the case. At the end of the day, there's going to be just the people that win the tournaments and the people that participate and lose.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's going to be the money that we put aside for tournaments is the money that belongs to Sonic Fox and to, God, who's the really dominant name in Street Fighter for the last few years?
Maynard?
His name's Maynard. Yeah, like that is Maynard's money. That is going to be like Leffen's money, and so on. That money is not going to go to the guy that you like to see pop up in tournament every year who plays the weird character and then gets to finals and then loses and gets sent to losers bracket and then loses again.
And then let's see,
Oh,
Teemo. That's it. That's the last bit of news, Teemo.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer.
Me neither.
I assume that since he's Teemo, he is going to be planting mushrooms that are bombs and planting mushrooms that heal him, and also just poking away at you with his blowgun.
I don't know. The thumbnail is him with a mushroom, and his eyes are glowing red. So,
their own thumbnail?
From what I can tell, yes. Like, let me send you a screen cap.
I'm looking it up. Oh yes, he's doing the Mimi eye thing already.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Now I'm looking at the trailer because now they've drawn me in with the meme. Oh, he starts out in the bushes. Of course he does. Okay, yeah, this is a nasty zoner. It immediately starts with nasty lame zoning.
Oh.
He is firing a slingshot. He is firing a blowgun. Oh my god, they're actually just putting memes in it of Teemo being annoying.
Nice.
They are showing Teemo. They're showing Teemo zoning out all of the rushdown and grappler characters on the roster.
Nice.
And while it's doing it, it slowly I'm not joking. It slowly overlays in a image of Teemo over the screen, his face with his eyes being red lasers. And then he goes in and goes like crouching light kick spam on the big German dude while he's blocking. And then parries the whatever response he has to try and get out of block.
Cool.
He has two supers, Teemo does. I want to note, he has one of the more disgusting air hattos I've ever seen. It's honest to God like Akuma. Well, no, it's not Akuma because it's not supposed to be a rushdown tool. He's got Geese Howard, fuck you, I'm going away, air hatto.
Oh.
With the blowpipe. He's got regular Hatto with a slingshot on the ground. He can plant mushrooms. He can kick the mushrooms at you for another projectile. He can put down bushes like, classic League of Legends style weeds to hide in, except instead of hiding in them, it becomes a thing he can teleport to. So if you actually manage to get in on him, he just teleports to the weeds to get away.
Nice.
He has one super where he plants a shit ton of mushrooms all in one spot and can hit them to make them all fly at you. And he's got another super where he gets out some kind of some kind of nice sunflower thing, which starts spinning, and he holds onto it that allows him to fly and just press buttons to do more blowpipe shit. Like, he pretty much just becomes Arthur at that point, but flying.
Nice.
Oh, dear Lord, if the mushrooms don't hit you, they start walking.
Oh.
It's a zoner with Blanca-chan. Teemo also has Blanca Ball.
Cool.
And an air throw.
Of course, he needs that to be viable.
And he has a pogo stick move that if he does it, then to you while air combo, it extends the air combo. For some reason oh my god. They then show Teemo mirror match, which is them on opposite sides of the screen, the middle of the screen full of mushrooms, just slingshotting at each other. And then they have a move where they call in one of Teemo's other weird little creatures who flies above the screen dropping bombs. Like it honest to God looked like a Nico Arc thing.
Yeah. So when are they adding Kohaku to Project L?
And then his win quote is, "Hey, you earned the losing badge."
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, whenever I do get around to trying Project L, yeah, I'm playing Teemo. I am 100% playing Teemo. This looks disgusting. All right. What else is up?
That was the last bit of news.
All right.
I do have a couple of topics, though, that I have saved.
Whoa.
I can pull them up. Okay, I actually saved the Virtua Fighter, a breakdown of the Virtua Fighter stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, one of the new rule sets is called Uprising. It is a dynamic. They say it's dynamic and momentum based.
Okay. So, like the Street Fighter 6 mode where it's a tug of war meter instead of health meters?
Maybe. They also said or talked about something break in and rush, which kind of sounds like a Bushido blade. It says body parts can become permanently damaged across rounds, which will increase your offensive and or defensive options or effectiveness.
Weird.
And there's also something called Flow Guard. Which might be
you can't let them.
Yeah.
You can't let them flow on you.
Yeah, no. That would be bad. Okay, this is more of an opinion thing, but one topic that I saved that I don't remember if you talked about really particularly, which is why I saved this probably, is someone brought up the idea of whatever the topic, just of what makes a bad fighting game.
I think about that sometimes, of how, it's pretty rare to get a fighting, it's extremely rare to get a fighting game that is buggy. right?
Yeah.
And like historically, when you ask people like, "Oh, what's the buggiest fighting game?" They're gonna think of Marvel 2, which is one of the most beloved fighting games of all time.
Yeah.
So that is something weird to think about. Like, I guess there's just less going on with fighting games that make it hard to fuck up. When's the last time you had a fighting game crash on you?
I feel like technically a couple of months ago I installed Street Fighter 6 to my laptop and it crashed on that because I'm assuming something video drivers. Like it just didn't like mine.
Probably. I have to imagine it was a Mortal Kombat because those are like the only games that have got weird shit going on the like Mortal Kombat or World Tour shenanigans.
Well, see, in the Street Fighter 6 thing, it started booting up the menu and then the menu crashed, which is really weird, to be honest. But yeah, the other one that is a full game that I can talk about is Mortal Kombat 9. Used to run on my laptop, and then at some point it just decided that it didn't like my laptop anymore, and it will not boot up at all.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. That's still like graphics driver shenanigans, but yes, that is one that comes up. Whew.
So yeah, that's I guess the most recent time that a fighting game has crashed on me. At least within its own native environment, because we can talk about whatchamacallit. We can talk about games that are trending, Shin Kick, or that time those 2 times that Hydron shot the internet. Which how? But
yeah, that gets screwy because that's emulation. But yeah.
But aside from that, I can't really think of fighting and running in its native environment and just really fucking crashing on me.
Yeah. And like, I think that to a certain degree, you can say like what makes a bad fighting game. It used to be easier because I'd say in the 90s there were plenty of bad fighting games that ran poorly, had awful sprites, had nonsensical balance. A lot of the Mortal Kombat ripoffs, right?
Yeah.
Were just straight up bad. They played slowly. They had terrible sprites. They had nonsensical balance. It was oops all zoning or oops all grabs.
You can just say Clay Fighter. It's fine.
I would have said Clay Fighter is more of a Street Fighter ripoff or a Killer Instinct ripoff. I guess it was just trying to rip off everything it could. Well, parody, excuse me. It's not doing it very well. In terms of the last 20 years, the last 25 years, I would say, like, Street Fighter 3 was more or less the definitive point, it seems to me, where it's like, okay, everybody knows what we're doing now. And it became, if a fighting game was just like straight up bad, it was no longer a thing of like, oh, another one. It became a thing of like, what are you doing? This is one of the hardest genres to fuck up. Like
I would argue that there has been some games that are bad after Third Strike, but yeah, because like there is a whatchamacallit. Fuck, there's I mean, I guess it depends though with that game too, because there's this game on the OG Xbox. It's a platform fighter, or no, it's a Power Stone ripoff. Now that I think about it, it's a Power Stone ripoff, and like the gameplay is alright. I suppose it's just horribly racist. Very fucking racist.
Yeah, well, when you get out of the traditional fighter realm, when you get into platform fighters and arena fighters, that's going to be a little bit of a different question because there's not so much going on there that so firmly establishes this is the way you do things, this is what's good.
Yeah.
2D fighters, I think that's part of what will... this is one of those things that makes people mad if they're not 2D fighter fans. 2D fighters are kind of already established and set in stone. Here's what you do, this is what you do. And there are going to be people that don't like 2D fighters. They're like, why do they still exist? They're so old and archaic. Wow. But it's a method that works.
Yeah.
And it's what the people that want fighting games want. Now, when I think of like really honestly just bad traditional fighting games that have come out in the last 25 years, a lot of them are going to be indie games from Russia or China.
Yeah.
Or like probably like Africa. I don't know why those three regions of the world, which Africa is casting a very wide net, so I shouldn't do that. But Russia and China, they do a lot of really crappy indie stuff. I don't know why. God bless them. And Russia every now and then produces something really special, right, with indie games, because there are so many Russian indie devs. They're just like, fuck the rules. We do what we want.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get a stalker, and well, no, stalker's Ukrainian. Whoops. Whoops, big difference there. My bad. All right. Every now and then you get a. Oh shit! Yeah, that sucks for Russia because
every now and then you get no, I'm not human.
Okay.
There you go. That's a new indie game that came out of Russia, as far as I'm aware. That is allegedly very good. I've seen a couple of videos on it, and like it's not really my style, but I can see the appeal, and like I wouldn't say that it is bad. So whatever, sure.
Yeah, in the allegedly good category, I could also bring up what was it called? Paranoia? Was it that one horror game that I had you and Pink watch me play for 30 minutes, and like I just screwed it all up, and it was terribly boring.
Shit. I know the game, but I don't know what it was called.
And the cover is a dude with a scalpel held behind his back.
Yeah. And the second game is a remake of the first game, and the third game is a remake of the second game.
Yeah, one of those things of the developers really want to make this game, and they want it to be perfect. But rather than just, DLCs or updates or remasters or remakes, they release sequels that are just that previous game, but more closer to their vision.
Yeah.
Very story-based first-person RPG. I think that's as much as we can say without having trouble. All right. So, it's the good. Hey, good stuff comes out of China from time to time, too. Granted, sometimes you got to pierce the veil of Sino-nationalism, but hey.
Yeah.
Sometimes they release a rather good character action Dark Souls-like, and you just kind of have to deal with the devs being big ol' racists.
And sexists.
And sexists. And lots of things. Oh, shit. Oh, it's always so, not to make this too political, but it's always great when you get people on social media from the Middle East or Russia going, man, it sucks here. I hope my country loses all the wars that it's in. China, anytime you hear something from Chinese social media, it's them going, China is great, everyone else ass. Yeah. I don't know what propaganda is going on there. Probably most of it just comes down to the parts of China that it sucks to live in are the parts that don't have internet.
I mean, that is a horrible thing to say, but it's probably true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because there's parts of China that live in there is great. They got some very nice cities in China. There's also other parts of China that make up like 99% of the land of China.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just fucking miserable.
Yeah, like, my thing with China is that, like, I don't hate Chinese people. Like, the Chinese people the Chinese people that I've met, they're really cool. They've been very kind. I fucking hate the government. Just in general, really, not just the Chinese one, but still.
The peoples of China, Russia, Iran, North Korea are all perfectly nice people who have done cool things. The governments for these places suck ass.
Yeah.
There are thousands of years of awesome Chinese and Arabian history. And unfortunately, the People's Republic of China and the Saudi princes are really shitty people.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's enough politics. Let's circle back around to it. Yeah, like in terms of like thinking from actual studios that people pay attention to.
Let's circle back around to non-political Riot, who are not in the pockets of China.
Oh boy. God, SNK versus Riot.
Yeah.
Saudi versus China. Oh boy.
I recently heard this is only tangentially related. I recently heard that back when Sega Sammy owned Guilty Gear, which is a thing that happened, by the way. Back when Sega Sammy owned Guilty Gear, that's the reason Blaze Blue exists. There was plans.
Yes, I remember this. We can't make Guilty Gear, so we'll make Guilty Gear but blue.
Yeah. So
and more anime. Or more modern anime, I should say. Because Guilty Gear is very 90s anime. Blaze Blue is very 2000s anime. Like, Guilty Gear to Blaze Blue is like, oh, Dragon Ball has happened. Dragon Ball has changed warfare as we know it.
See, I would argue that Blaze Blue is somehow 2010s anime. Because in 2000s anime, you got like the Gray Man and like, which I don't like, but still, whatever. It like it's closer to the 90s. It's kind of like it is the stepping stone between the more like less clean, more gritty look of anime in the 80s and the 90s to fucking moe blob bullshit that is dominating anime nowadays.
Yeah.
And like Blaze Blue is very close to moe blob. It's not quite there. There are still bits of it that aren't that, but it's like 2 steps away, I would argue.
Hang on, sorry, I'm typing out something real quick.
Yeah. We need to kill this guy. He talks shit about Moya Blob.
That's exactly what I'm doing. All right.
So yeah, what was that? What were we talking about?
Right, the Sega Sammy thing, which links back to...
Oh yeah. The reason I brought that up is because there were plans for a Capcom versus Sammy fighting game, which means we would have had Ryu against fucking Soul Bad Guy.
Talk about a fucking mismatch. I would say ordinarily, like, oh, well, they would have had to just gimp the hell out of poor Soul, but that was back in the day where crossover games didn't really work that hard to do that. And you'd be playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and there'd be Cable or Sentinel who can do all those things that they can do. And what does Colossus do? He has 2 moves, literally just 2 moves, and one of them's garbage, so you just use one of them.
Yeah. What does Colossus do? He dies.
Colossus was really good in Children of the Atom, and Sentinel was there. So they worked, there wasn't a huge mismatch there. The issue is that Colossus was really reliant on weird, like, that very weird time period of fighting games where it's like, characters should be able to do weird things out of throw. Colossus was a command grab. I don't know if you remember this. Colossus was a grappler who didn't have a command grab. He was a grappler who had options specifically out of just normal throw.
Oh, yeah.
So when they moved him forward to the later games, they went, well, Colossus can't be the only guy who's got weird shit out of normal throw. So let's get rid of that shit and make it so that he just doesn't do anything out of normal throw like everyone else does. But let's not give him anything new to do.
Because that would require making more sprites.
Yes. So Colossus went from being a very strong character in Children of the Atom. I believe the top 3 of Children of the Atom, no, the top 4 of Children of the Atom were Wolverine, Omega Red, Sentinel, and Colossus. And then Colossus, credit where credit's due, in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, he's the best character in the game, except that he's not fucking playable. He's an assist. He's by far the best assist in the game. And then Marvel 2, garbage. Just straight up garbage. Like, he's not roll tier. But, like, if memory serves, his charge move actually is viable. But he's just so miserable and boring to play. Because, like, really, you just want a character who has one move?
Yeah.
Which, in several regards, within the last 25 years, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, in several regards, is a bad fighting game. Like, it's really fun to play, and there's a small cast of characters that feel really good in Marvel 2. Most of that cast feels like shit.
Yeah.
That game is buggy as fuck. There are like 6 stages in the entire game, and none of them make sense. They don't fit the roster at all. And a lot of people at the time would have said the soundtrack was awful too. Nowadays, people would say the Marvel 2 soundtrack is a classic. But at the time, people went, why the fuck is there smooth jazz playing in my fighting game where I'm going to be doing 1,000 hit air combos?
Yeah.
And also, in case you didn't know, that game's imbalanced as fuck. Marvel 2 is the game that people can point at and say that balance isn't necessary to a good fighting game. But in several regards, it is a bad fighting game. And when I hear people in Japan say that the Marvel series is kusoge, I'll fight them on Marvel 3. But Marvel 2, it's like, yeah, it's good kusoge, but it's kusoge. Like Marvel 2, and it really does kind of belong next to, Dong Dong.
Yeah. Like hype, really fun, but also there is no competitive bone in this body.
Yeah, and both of them, I could say there's a point of crap where it goes opposite of hype. If you have one button infinites, that's the opposite of hype.
Yeah, the end of duel, yes.
Like Marvel 2 has infinites, but the only character who's got a semi-easy infinite is Iron Man, and even then, it's not that easy. You or I could probably sit down and work out the Iron Man at infinite in like a half hour tops. But it's still interesting looking. And it takes a little bit of work. It's not just, I press this and I win.
Yeah.
Legitimately crap fighting games in the balance category are games where it's it really does just boil down to that. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Even though I like these games on some level, Injustice and Injustice 2 are bad fighting games.
Okay, I would like to hear your reasoning.
Because the zoning is too strong, and it makes the game miserable to play and miserable to look at for both sides.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And for the Superman on no earth should Superman in a fighting game be doing jump back heat vision, jump back heat vision, jump back heat vision. It's fucking miserable. Deadshot. I've talked to length before about Deadshot. Deadshot's not a problem anymore, thank God. And hey, Dr. Fate is all right, and so on. Captain Cold's all right. They're cool to look at. When Superman can just do jump back heat vision, jump back heat vision, jump back heat vision, it is honest to God, what the fuck are you doing? And why?
He's evil.
I would certainly hope that if an Injustice 3 ever manifests into existence, they'd have learned their lessons. And also probably figured out. Probably redone the animations. Because, Injustice is also really poorly animated. And it really sticks out. Mortal Kombat X is also pretty poorly animated. Mortal Kombat 9, I think, you don't notice quite as much. But Mortal Kombat X looks so janky because it's so fast.
Yeah. I mean, the major problem, I think most people decrying Mortal Kombat's animation can agree. The major problem with Mortal Kombat's animation isn't really the animation itself. Well, it is the animation, but it's more so in the way they get that animation, because everything is mocapped. And to make sense with the frames, they just speed shit up or slow shit down. And that's why it looks so janky. If they just went back in and just did some handmade animation, just cut out a couple of frames here and there, and then just make a tween for the two motions that you did, it would probably look a lot better.
There's got to be some finer tuned elements of animation there. I'm not an animation expert. I haven't gone to college for this shit, and this is the sort of shit you got to go to college for. But Street Fighter also mocaps their stuff, but Street Fighter doesn't look like that.
Yeah. I think that's the reason, because with Street Fighter, it seems like they don't just use the raw mocap data, which from what I understand is what NetherRealm does. With Street Fighter, they take the mocap data, they base the animation off of that, and then they tweak it so that the models don't clip, and there's the right amount of whatchamacallit, freeze. I want to call it freeze frames, but no, that's not the right term. There's this term for when you stop the motion in its tracks to emphasize the movement. And Street Fighter is really keen on doing that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that's the major difference between the two, because NetherRealm, like, I would assume they also tweak the animation so that the models don't clip inside of each other. But otherwise, from what I understand, and from what we as viewers can tell, it seems like they just take the mocap data, and then when a punch is too slow, they speed it up. And when a punch is too fast, they slow it down. And that just looks like ass.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one for the bad fighting game talk. There's the layer of casual and hardcore, right?
Yeah.
For a hardcore fighting gamer, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a good fighting game. For a casual fighting game player, Infinite's neat to pick up and play. But I think most casual players would pick up Marvel Infinite and go, why is the roster so small? Why is it missing these characters that I'm used to having? And why is it so fucking ugly?
Yeah.
That's a relevant one. In similar regards, I would throw in... I am not a Battle for the Grid player. I played like an hour tops. That would probably all been in practice mode. And I'm sure that there are Power Rangers fans that love Battle for the Grid and don't care for fighting games, but they love Battle for the Grid because it's loaded with fan service or something like that. But I think that most casual players would pick up Battle for the Grid and say, this is bad. This roster is tiny, these graphics are unimpressive, and it doesn't feel good to play. This is very, very stiff.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, hardcore players did take to Battle for the Grid on some level. Obviously, it's largely irrelevant now, but it had its community in its day, and I'm sure that there's still a diehard community that sticks with Battle for the Grid intently.
Yeah.
Now, Dungeon Fighter, that's actually one I don't think I've ever seen a complete 3 seconds of Dungeon Fighter foot. I don't think I've ever seen a single second of Dungeon Fighter footage. I have never watched anyone play that game. I know because I hear about what goes on with it, that it's janky and Kusoge as fuck, but I couldn't tell you if it's like the actual variety of Kusoge that a casual player versus a hardcore player would look at and go, what the fuck, why would I even play this?
Well, Dungeon Fighter, the main problem with it is that it is what you described earlier. It is because it has simple inputs and it also has infinites because, aiding. It is genuinely the press 3 buttons for infinite game, from my understanding.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for its players that they have to suffer through this.
Oh, it's fine. They're not suffering. They're not playing the game anymore.
Yeah. Oh boy! All right.
Like I guess for my end, which I guess also kind of just proves the stuff that we talked about, like when this podcast began. Like I could probably, if I really sat down and pushed myself to it, I could probably be some level of like alright competitive player. But I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm a casual.
Hypothetically, really, just about anyone could.
Yeah. But
yeah. Oh, good.
But like for me, I guess the first really major thing that makes a fighting game bad is game feel. If I press the button, how does it feel? Does it feel nice to press the button, or does it feel bad to press the button? Is there a large amount of delay? Stuff like that,
Yeah.
Which that's also gonna be highly subjective because like there are games that I would say feel like shit to control that you like. And like conversely, It's not a fighting game. But like I've seen so many people say that the old Armored Core controls don't make any sense and they're fucking ass, and that they hate controlling the mechs in that game because it's very difficult. And it is difficult at first, but even though that game is janky, I like the controls. So why don't I like more fighting game controls? It's weird.
Excuse me. I think like a big part of the thing here is, are we talking about subjective versus objective? Of course, when we say bad, because to me, like when you use the terms good or bad, that implies objective. Where of course, like and dislike or love and hate are subjective. And at that point, like if we were to try and put together an objective set of terms for this, I would suppose, God, that's where it gets really difficult, right?
Yeah.
God, because like, okay, well, what about roster size? What's an objectively bad number for roster size? Well, it depends on the style of game it is. Tag fighters need more characters than 1v1 fighters do.
Yeah, I mean the optimal roster size I would say is somewhere between let's see.
Launch or end of life cycle.
Well, see, that's the other thing. Like with older games, there was no difference.
Yeah, but
Unless
with older games, game development was cheaper, so you could stuff more characters in there.
Yeah. Because like I would say the optimal like fighting game roster is somewhere between 12 and 50. You know?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't go under 12 because 12 like even if it's a 1v1 fighting game, like 12 is kind of on the precipice of being too little. But
yeah,
over 50, you're just tempting fate.
Over 50, you're getting to the point of just like nobody can keep track of this shit.
Yeah.
Because I think we all look at the Marvel 2 roster and we see some characters that we have to go, wait, he's in the game?
Yeah.
What does he even do? Because every time I launch Marvel 2, I see Dan. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's Dan doing here? Oh, right, he's here.
Yeah, he's here because he was cheap to implement. And no other reason, really.
And probably because Capcom thought, like, well, we don't, of all the guys to fit in, we might as well slot in a joke character, right?
Yeah.
The roster size, the roster size, I think, also depends on the individual character depth.
I mean, I don't know, because I guess it really depends. Because if a character is like 3 moves, including normals, then yeah, I guess then you should better have like 5 million characters on the roster. But at the same time, like I at least with more modern games, because with older games, like we've said, it was easier to put characters in there. So whatever. With more modern games, like with Street Fighter 6, for example, it goes for depth in toolkit, but the characters eventually stop feeling like new. They stop feeling fresh, even though even though they have all of the vested amount of shit that they can do, just because people min-max the fun out of the game.
Yes, that is definitely true about like bigger move sets that people will just start cutting out moves. I mean, God, we both love KOF. KOF is generally a series that is, other than a couple oddball entries like 13 that tried to make movesets smaller, KOF is generally a series where characters have big movesets, lots of special moves.
Yeah.
And people are just going to pick out the moves that they want to do and leave out the others. I'm going to bet you that not a lot of competitive players use Explosive Earring on Leona. That's probably not why they pick her.
But who knows? Maybe there's some guy out there who's built his entire toolkit around that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be shocked anymore. Weird shit happens.
Yeah.
And even when you or I play KOF, there are moves we just don't use.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're a big Kim Kapuan guy. You don't use the stomp.
No. There's just no use for it.
That's a classic Kim tool. If Kim didn't have the stomp, I'd go, what the fuck are you doing? That's classic Kim.
I guess, like, I don't know. Like, for me, like, I do like bigger move lists or movesets because they accommodate shit like this. But I think there is a good argument to be made for for giving too many tools to a character so that people can narrow it down to what they use. The problem with that, in my opinion, is really just society. Cue Potemkin's team, but the culture around like just the min-maxing culture, I guess, that sprung around fighting games as well, where people are just going, all right, use this kick. Well, you only need this kick. You don't need that kick. I wasn't there for the arcades, so I can't say for certain. But from what I understand, back when arcades were a thing, there was a lot more of people just taking whatever tool they liked and just using that. And I prefer it that way.
That was broadly pre-internet. The internet would have been a lot of what killed that, because it became simpler to put out a guide that everyone could read on how to play a character. And you would have played more people there from other parts of the world and seen more of what they could do. Whereas the arcade, you were limited to your local scene.
Yeah.
And odds are, when we talk about our old buddy Mike was the Mortal Kombat guy of Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which had presumably a nonsensical Mortal Kombat meta going on there compared to what the rest of the world would have now. And almost certainly no one would have been doing the wacky Striker Infinite, where he's shooting the gun, then using the nightstick dive to go across the screen, then shoot the gun again.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, that's what went on. And to a certain degree, I think that at a certain point, you have to just be able, when we talk about saying that the people making the metification of things, when we say that's bad, do we mean in terms of I'm sick of people putting the pressure on me to play the meta, or are you saying I'm sick of playing against people who play the meta?
I'd say it's more so the latter. Definitely definitely the former, but more so the latter. Because people putting the pressure on to play the meta, whatever. It's more of a problem in competitive, or not competitive, in cooperative multiplayer games, where you will get flamed for not coming out of the womb knowing how to play this game that released 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
It sucks there, but you don't really get flamed for stuff like that in fighting games. It still happens. I've seen it happen. But it's not quite as immediate. You need to actually go out of your way to be yo, look at my gameplay, and then be a dick.
Yeah.
In fighting games, it's more so the latter, where the simplification of characters down to their greatest tools, while it does give a competitive edge, obviously, also makes the game more boring to play for everyone involved, I would assume. Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Because, I can't imagine that maybe it's just a difference in how I think than the other people. But, I just can't think that people are going, hell yeah, I can lend my fucking bread and butter for the 15th time in a row in this match. And it definitely is not fun to just go or to just play against a guy who only uses this one poke, only does this one combo, and otherwise just does fundamentals, which is what you should do competitively. It's just that's not all there is to these games, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, then you get into the wildly different things of how what enjoyment you derive from a given fighting game.
Yeah.
And from where, though there's also a balance argument to be made of whenever a character is just sticking doing one thing over and over and over again. Of okay, balance-wise, is this the only thing this character can do? Is this the optimal thing to do even when the opponent knows how to counter it?
Yeah.
And so on. Because to circle back to the Superman zoning thing, that is legitimately a balance problem, that it is that strong, even in a situation where many players would know you're supposed to just sit there and block and walk in on Superman doing jump back heat vision until he gets put in the corner. It's still the thing to do, even if the opponent knows how to deal with it, which makes it boring because there is no psychology to it, and it's repetitive.
Yeah.
This is to a certain degree why you see games like Street Fighter 6 try and put in weird shit where combos have different viability at different points on the stage, so that people are using different combos. And this is an advantage that Street Fighter gets in general, because they make the necessities required to do certain combos so strict, where it's well, you really only are going to get this combo if you start it with crouching medium kick. which means that you're just not going to get to do the combo at all if your opponent is blocking low consistently. Hope you have something you can get off of overhead or jump in, buddy, or drive impact.
Yeah, although the example I have of the opposite is actually from Street Fighter 6, because sometimes it is a balance problem, but other times it's genuinely just a problem with this thing happening. Because I remember back in season 1, Street Fighter 6, so this is outdated information, mind. But season 1 Street Fighter 6, I was following people talking about Jury because I played Jury because Akuma was not in the game. But and there was a lot of talk. I forget if it's I nearly started giving out fucking Guilty Gear buttons, which I mean technically yes, but it fits kind of, but not really.
Here.
Yeah. But her, I think her forward middle punch, her elbow, like, I remember people talk about that as this god button, as this button that you should just always be throwing out. That is your only, whatchamacallit, it's your only poke in neutral, and like you can do conversions off of that, but it's the only button you should be pressing. I disagree with this because for one, it's fucking boring, but for two, forward middle punch is how do I put it? Fuck. Like it's not the overbearing quality that it has was overblown. But for example, you can also just do crouching medium kick, or you could have done crouching medium kick. You could have done a forward heavy kick, I think, for pokes, stuff like that. And some of those have less rewards than 6MP, but I don't know. It makes neutral different because with forward medium punch, you need to be in one specific range to then convert off of. Whereas with the other options, you can shimmy around. And at least with crouching medium kick, back then you could also do the same combo routes that you could do off of forward medium punch.
Yeah. To a certain degree, I think that what we're talking about here, you can mitigate this with game balance. But I think to a certain degree, what we're talking about here is a issue of humanity.
Yeah.
It is an issue of people don't want to think. And in fighting games, that is a legitimate advantage to not have to think, right? Because you can just, press button and have your brain be in other places, whether you're thinking about what your opponent is doing, thinking about what you should do in the future, or just thinking about, I'd like to have a sandwich for lunch.
Yeah.
And people are just generally mentally lazy. Like, physical laziness is, of course, something that everybody is aware of and everybody talks about because it's a menace, especially when it's your coworkers. But mental laziness is a very, very, very strong problem, arguably a much worse problem that leads to the downfall of all societies in the end, but also leads to people being really boring to play against in games. And it just as often leads to easy wins over them just because they're not paying attention, as it just leads to them being very boring on the occasions that they do win.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, this is part of what game development is, game design is combating the mental laziness of the player and the overly conservative attitudes of the player. This is why in a lot of games where you can just stay at home in the game and just sit around the house, this is why strategy games have to specifically build in motivations for the player to go out and be aggressive and take resources. Because if the player generally has the option to just turtle and go for a boom economy until they get to the sudden end of the game where they build up a massive army of the most elite unit possible, the player will make that choice if it's available to them. Because at the end of the day, it's the simpler. It's not just simpler. It's also it's scary to go out there into the unknown, and it's scary to have to think on the fly. I certainly have been guilty of it many times. There are a lot of times when I play strategy games, I'm like, fuck this. I'm not feeling like going out and being aggressive. I'm just going to turtle up and I'm going to build up my economy. I'm going to build up a stupid elite army, and then I'm going to roll over the entirety of the opponent's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with fighting games, you get probably the same thing, except it's I just want to hit my bread and butter, and I honestly don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
I have one poke that's got good frame data and can start, and it's special cancelable. I'm just going to be throwing that out. And I might also go for throw loops, but they're not going to be optimal because, hey, I just did the bread and butter, right? Or alternatively, the complete opposite. All I know how to do is get in throw loop situation. Everything else I do is just trying to get into the throw loop situation, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
And this goes on, of course, with every fighting game. And to a certain degree, you see it less in some fighting games, in part because they're just simply going to be different player mentalities depending on the appeal of the game. You're going to be seeing this happen less in Guilty Gear. No, you're still going to see it happen. You're going to see it happen less in Guilty Gear because, generally speaking, the person who wants to play the simplest gameplay style possible and get wins for it is probably going to go for Street Fighter or Tekken. Because they're going to look at those games and say, they're obviously simpler. Guilty Gear is complex, so I'll take the game where I can get the simpler wins. But there are still going to be people that do that with Guilty Gear, but it's going to be rare because Guilty Gear, part of the appeal is going to be, I want the fighting game that lets me do crazy stuff.
Depends on the Guilty Gear, I guess, but yeah.
It does. Strive's gotten a lot better in the last few years, and who knows where the fuck they're going with Strive 2. But, I'm glad we're getting Strive 2.0 instead of Strive 2. I should say that, come to think of it. But anyways. Boy, I just had a thought.
Yeah.
So Guilty Gear, for the longest while, they were saying it was the X series, right? It wasn't that Guilty Gear Xrd was a sequel to Guilty Gear. It was that Guilty Gear Xrd was a sequel to Guilty Gear XX, which is a sequel to Guilty Gear X.
So see how it happened is that Guilty Gear The Missing Link was shit. And so
yes,
Guilty Gear X is technically the second Guilty Gear, but it's really the first Guilty Gear or remake. Something like that. Or maybe it's like, because I don't remember the actual storyline, maybe it's a direct sequel, but whatever. And from that point on, what Daisuke said, if memory serves, is that the X series is the mainline Guilty Gear series, which he said this because of Guilty Gear 2's existence.
Okay. Give me just a moment. I thought you'd be talking longer than that, so I snuck in some granola. So, considering that, and considering that Strive is like, hey, V is 5, isn't that cool? When you think about it, though, as V being the important part of Strive.
It's IV, actually, because it's 4.
Oh, you're right. Well, either which way. If you think about it alphabetically, V comes before X, so arguably they've gone backwards.
I guess.
Nonetheless. Yeah, when we talk, well, we move from what makes a bad fighting game to what makes a bad fighting game player. And not necessarily a bad fighting game player in terms of getting wins, but just a bad player to play against.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to a certain degree, if you really just want to stick to strictly having fun, playing with people who aren't going to be shitty, the best way to play fighting games will forever be to play with your friends. And to a certain degree, when you go online, there is just has to. I'm not speaking to you specifically. I'm speaking to you in the general sense. Yeah. All of you out there, listeners, when you play online, to a certain degree, you've got to be putting on the hazmat suit before going into the old stupid meme you'd see sometimes people put up with putting on the hazmat suit before going into the comments section on a post, right?
Yeah.
to a certain degree, you got to be that way with online because it's just going to be, well, these people are free to play the game how they want, which means a lot of them are going to play it in a really stupid way. If you give people the freedom to play how they want, that means a lot of them are just going to be exploiting the freedom to play in really bad ways, the same way that people given the freedom to speak freely are going to use it a lot to say really bad things.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Broadly speaking, trying to say what is a bad fighting game is such a difficult topic to really hit because so much of what we would consider like objectively bad in other games either doesn't matter as much for fighting games or just isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because like the simplest way to objectively say a game, a video game in general, is bad is if it is extremely buggy in a way that isn't fun. And like fighting games generally are not buggy, barring Marvel 2, and Marvel 2 is like a Bethesda game. The bugs add to the fun.
Yeah, although it did occur to me that like we can break it down to certain elements because like we don't need to really point out specific games, as in like games that are just bad outright. But we can definitely point out parts that are bad from games, from fighting games. That is, that they fucked up majorly in a way that shouldn't be replicated. Like for example, the sound chip on Rabbit.
The sound chip on Rabbit. I don't know what you're referring to here.
Rabbit, the fighting game we played, it was I think it was published by EA. I forget. It's the fighting game with the JoJo stands that isn't JoJo. They're animals, and we might have played the Chinese release. I forget.
I have no recollection of this.
All right. Let me fetch a picture so maybe you might remember. But
I'm gonna need visual aids because nothing you're saying is ringing a bell at all. This is sounding like you're trying to gaslight me.
I typed in Rabbit fighting game and it's giving me fucking overgrowth.
Yeah.
What?
Check the gaming thread. Oh, God bless him.
Yeah.
I've grown to like him a lot more in the last few years.
I'm the opposite.
Oh yeah, that game, that weird game. Oh God, right? Yeah, that was rough. Yeah, our old buddy, who I guess I'll hold off on naming on this recording, just because for one thing, it's not gossip. It's the fighting game podcast, not the gossip about our friends podcast. But God bless him. I've come to like him a lot more in the last few years, where he and I started off on the wrong foot. But man, he is just the epitome of the boss baby effect, isn't he?
Yeah. That's probably honestly the reason that I've been liking him less as time goes on. Well, that on a lack of whatchamacallit, a lack of humility or whatever, humbleness, humility. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I think he, because the rest of us give him such intense shit, and he's not like somebody else who just kowtows and switches to posting GIFs. He stands up for himself, but he also will admit that he fucks up and gets things wrong sometimes. Also, he's young, you know?
He's not that young. He's like 3 years younger than me.
Yeah, but you had a traumatic upbringing, and that matures you faster.
I guess.
That's grim to say, but it is just true. Oh, shit.
Anyway,
he'd be smarter if his parents had beat him more.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, my parents were fine. It's the everyone else that I had to interact with that fucked me up, but still.
I didn't mean to insult your parents. I just went for the most obvious thing to say, a traumatic upbringing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No, see the most like generic thing that you could say is that, and then on top of it, also the priest.
The priest, there you go.
So, yeah.
He's English. That country's like at least 50% atheist now.
But you're not saying a country is 50% priest.
That's the other 50%.
Yeah. They're in constant war.
Oh, shit.
So anyway,
well,
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rabbit's sound chip, like, say what you will about the rest of the game, it's alright. Like, they fuck up in other places, but the one that really strikes me as being fucking ass about Rabbit is the sound chip. Because I don't know if it's the way that we played it, I don't know if it's just the version that I have, I don't know what the fuck is up with it, but for whatever reason, the sound chip is not just blown out, but actively clipping.
Yep. I do remember that being pretty fucked up.
And so, like, I wouldn't call Rabbit necessarily a bad fighting game. I would say that a bad fighting to make a bad fighting game, you would need to fuck up the sound like Rabbit did.
Yeah. If you try to discuss objectively bad qualities and divorce it from games, not necessarily thinking of a bad game, not necessarily thinking of any game at all when you say that this is bad, this is good, that becomes a different, interesting discussion that allows you to then view the games through a more rational lens. Whereas when I say this trait is objectively bad, and I'm specifically thinking of a specific fighting game when I say it, it makes me hold back on it because it's like, well, animations done like this are really bad. Mortal Kombat X isn't a bad fighting game. I have to be able to divorce that a little bit and go, well, no, this is bad, and that is bad in Mortal Kombat X because it's bad anywhere. That does not mean Mortal Kombat X is a bad fighting game because Mortal Kombat X has a lot of things that are good. But that part of Mortal Kombat X is bad. And in that sense...
Congratulations, Alex, you're becoming a critic.
Nah. Well, no, what I'm doing is I'm learning to get out of my head of getting sick of fighting game elitists that turn their nose up at NRS.
Yeah.
But every fighting game, the very best fighting games, are still going to have things that are objectively bad about them.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Like, I would argue that universal throw loops in Street Fighter 6 are bad for the health of the game in the long run.
Yes. Yes, it's a very boring way of handling things. And they have been with the last few updates making progress towards okay, how do we soften the thing of throw loops without making drive parry too OP?
Yeah. Although I feel like they should have reversed the order, just removed universal throw loops and then made parryverse, because it feels a lot more justified to go, all right, we solved this issue, we know this is gonna be an issue, but we'll spend I don't know. Well, that's another thing. I dislike Street Fighter's lack of updates, just because it doesn't allow for easy fixes. Outside of hot fixes, I suppose, but usually things aren't that broken in Street Fighter 6. I think a good way to handle things would be whatchamacallit, half a year long, major patches, because then shit isn't constantly changing, but also if something proves to be a problem, then you can change it fairly fast, all things considered.
Yeah. Yeah. If the changes happen too slowly, there's not enough response to issues. If the changes happen too fast, it's like, how the fuck can I even know what's going on? Everything's changing. I'll also throw on, I think the faster the updates come, the higher the likelihood you get into the Rainbow Six Siege Overwatch problem of the developers are now just making changes based off of ideas they've had.
Yeah.
They're not based off of reality of, oh, we need to nerf Mute because hypothetically he could be a problem for this, that, or another. Or just simply, we need to nerf Mute just so that we see less of it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I can understand. And I forget which fighting game had this problem that spurred people to try and vie away from it, I guess. But I can understand that if there's a major patch every month in a fighting game, I can see why that would be bad, because that's fucking everything fundamentally changing in every month. But I think a quarterly or a one patch half a year schedule for shit like that works better than what Street Fighter is doing, which is one patch a year. Because it allows them to more timely address problems with the game without also moving the furniture every day.
Yeah. The excuse me. No, actually, I don't think I have anything to add. You just put it perfectly there.
All
I don't
right.
need to say anything.
So yeah, and like I don't know about you, but I would accept these major balance patches without any other content added, because like we can divorce DLC stuff from the content, but at the same time, if they bless you, if they switched over to quarterly, they could just tie it so every character gets a major balance patch, and it could also work.
Eh?
Either which way. Like yeah, those are my two. Well, those two and the fucking input reading, the priorities, but
Yeah, that one's still weird.
that and the whatchamacallit, like how long it reads the inputs, because it's a bit too lenient in my opinion. Or not even like lenient,
Yeah,
because like leniency in this regard, I would argue is more so in like how precise you need to input the actual moves, whatchamacallit, like the move motion. But it's less so the motion itself that is the problem than the amount of time that it will it will assume motions to be intertwined. Like it's the window to input a specific motion is too wide, if that makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, like and like Street Fighter 6 is one of my favorite Street Fighters. So, you know,
Yeah.
like it's a really good game, but it isn't without flaws. Like most things.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
Tekken 7 sold the most in the entire series, I think, by now. It had no content.
No. It still doesn't.
Yeah, it never will.
Oh boy, it's something that'll be left in the past.
Yeah. I mean, Tekken 8, as far as I'm aware, doesn't really have more content either. So, it definitely will be left in the past.
Yeah. Like the day when we actually get crazy content heavy fighting games again from like, well, God, I was about to say, well, you know, it'll be a long time off. No, Street Fighter 6 has plenty of content.
Yeah. It is a part of the problem with Street Fighter's pipeline, the amount of content that they're doing, but at the same time, like it's, you know, it sucks that we only get 4 characters a year. I agree with that. Like I have complained about it on this podcast before. At the same time, I really appreciate that they're giving love to World Tour and shit like that. You know, I would have been persuaded if they just went, alright, here just World Tour DLC sometimes, where we integrate all the characters.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have worked better with their pipeline. But at the same time, like, you know, I appreciate that how every time a character is added, they immediately have a large swath of story to them. Now, if only like if only we actually moved forward with the plot as well, instead of just, you know, Kenny's never going violent.
Yeah, I question if like it's supposed to be a thing. Like, are they waiting for Super Street Fighter 6 in some way?
I don't know, because Super Street Fighter 6 was allegedly dispatch, or not dispatch specifically, but you know, this season.
Really? This isn't like Street Fighter 6 Arcade Edition?
No, the first the separate edition that they had planned for Street Fighter 6 was Super Street Fighter 6. So, at least from what I remember.
Huh.
So, like, and I would assume that that version was canned, but technically that would make whatever content that they had saved for that, when that gets added, would make, you know, that version of the game Super Street Fighter 6, and I believe it was supposed to be this season.
Yeah, I guess so. It is a valid question to ask, though. Like, do you think to a certain degree they want to hold off on the plot really progressing until Street Fighter 7?
I mean, I can see them doing that, but I would hope not, because, like, you know, they're doing so many things right with Street Fighter 6 that like it feels like a very stupid misstep to make.
Yeah. Well,
Especially
Street Fighter
since
5, did they ever... Go ahead.
I was just gonna add, like, especially since Street Fighter plotlines are usually very self-contained. So, like with Street Fighter 7, we're not seeing JP like likely. I guess I should add, we're not likely going to see JP ruling Shadaloo and shit. We're gonna be seeing, like, I don't know, Shadaloo and Neo Shadaloo and Shadow Law fighting over dominance, while Ryu is there and killing Bison again.
Yeah. It's gonna be what was it I was gonna say? It's gonna be probably what I bet is JP will be back wearing a whole new outfit and probably be a bit more fucked up in Street Fighter 7.
Yeah.
I don't see JP getting left behind because JP, I think, has already entered the class of what I would consider iconic Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, no, JP is definitely coming back. I just want them, like, I guess this really is just like a frustration I have with some fighting or most fighting game story modes. Well, most Capcom fighting game story modes, definitely. Where, like, I want to see the big thing happen. I don't want to be told the big thing happened between the two games. I want to see Ken become Violent Ken and beat JP's ass and then take his apes back. I don't want to be told that Ken became Violent Ken and beat JP's ass and took his apes back in Street Fighter 7.
Yeah, that is one thing that gets really awkward with fighting games, is that there's also the thing of, like, okay, well, these are usually tournament-based, and you reach the next game, and it's like, okay, who actually won in the last game?
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat, you can vaguely get an idea. Not vaguely, excuse me. Mortal Kombat is the one that you definitively, like, okay, you know what happened in the last game. But like Tekken or Street Fighter or so on, it's often very confusing. Dead or Alive is the one game I can recall where they actually have it said who was the winner of each game.
Oh, nice.
And it gets really weird because Zack won one of them.
Oh.
Fucking Zack!
Yeah, I mean, like, with Tekken, like, they used to do that too with Tekken, but it's like, alright, Kazuya, Heihachi, Jin, Paul? Oh no, wait, actually, technically, yes. Technically, Paul won the one that Jin would have won.
Paul won Tekken 3.
Yes. So, Paul, and then just to, like, from then that point on, I don't think, no, wait, fuck. Yeah, like, I think from that point on, it's just, like, from other, like, plotline stuff that you can figure out who won each game. Jin won 4. Kazuya and Jin both won 5. Because Kazuya killed Jinpachi, and that's canon as far as I'm aware. But Jin took hold of the Mishima Zaibatsu.
Yeah.
And then Jin won 6. And there was no tournament for 7.
No.
And then 8
7 and 8
is happening.
at least have a story mode, but like, there's no tournament, and it's like, why is anyone who is not a Mishima here?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And then let's see, what other things can we really point out? Well, of course, the stinky graphics, but then with some games, the stinky graphics can also be a stylized thing. Because there's an indie fighting game that I've been keeping an eye on, and I will not be able to tell you its name because it is genuinely, I shit you not, something like yet another fighting game or something like this. Like, if I come across it again, then I will send it your way. But I cannot shut this game out because the game's name is purposefully generic. And it has it has a rubber hose animation. And it also, like,
okay.
But it also on purpose looks like stinky like stinky flip note animations. just with a rubber hose style of fluidity.
I see.
Okay, it's called the generic fighter maybe.
Wow. All right. Well, that'll stick with people.
So yeah, I will post this in the voice text so you can look at it later, I guess.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So yeah, like this game, bless you. This game
Thank you.
looks very interesting. I don't know how it will control. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's like far enough into development where we can really discuss about how it might control, But
Yeah.
yeah, like they revealed a couple of characters for it. Looks interesting. The game, objectively speaking, the game looks fucking dumb. It looks bad. It looks like a child drew it. That's on purpose. So like, it's one of those things where like sometimes you can tell that something was a whatchamacallit, a limitation of the artists behind the game or the whatchamacallit, the platform that the game was on. But sometimes that can also hold people back. But sometimes we also just have to discuss, like, was this an artistic choice? Did they decide to make it like this on purpose, and does it work? Like, for example, Rumblefish. Rumblefish is a game that looks really good in still frames, and then you see the characters moving, and then you feel the characters moving in as well, and the game falls apart. At least it did for me and Pink.
Okay. I'm watching this generic fighter maybe. This looks awesome.
Yeah.
I find the style delightful. It looks like it looks like ASDF made a fighting game.
Yeah, Tom Ska.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yo, I managed to find. So I'm looking at GIFs because I can send those easier than images of Rumblefish 2. And I found GIFs that are still.
Oh no.
Okay, well this GIF makes it look better than it actually looks in motion, I would argue, but here.
Oh yes, I remember this. Very stiff movements.
Yes.
Very much we did not want to animate much more than the idle pose.
Like the characters, I would say the closest that I can really point to is the characters move like they were animated in Flash, and the animator just used a skeleton rig for the parts, and they're just moving that around. It's like fucking clip art that you just bolted together at the elbows and knees,
Yes, and it's this looks like, okay. You know how when you're a kid, the way you think you hit something really hard is to just swing with your arm and not the rest of your body?
Yeah.
And you have to figure out, somebody has to tell you at some point in your life that no, a really good swing uses all your body.
Yeah.
This looks like the way kids would fight.
Yeah, and like if this looks tilted to you, it feels this tilted as well. In my experience.
Okay.
So yeah, like I would say that like that generic fighter may look bad when you look at it, from a certain point of view, but at the same time, that's an artistic decision. They are going full ass with it. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose. Rumblefish feels like they fucked up.
Yeah. A mistake was made.
Yeah. And like the game, like objectively speaking, Rumblefish looks a lot better than Generic Fighter maybe. Except for the bits where it doesn't. You know? Like, once again, if you look at the still frame of the Rumblefish 2, or just the Rumblefish, the first one I think looks more or less the same. Like, it looks like a really, it has a fine art style. It's fairly detailed. The backgrounds are really nice. And then you see the characters move.
Yeah.
So as far as graphics, I would say that like you should probably avoid that. You should avoid.
Yep.
It being very stilted, unless like I think stilted movement could work for a character, but not for your entire roster.
Yeah.
Like if Faust started moving like this, and like possessed Strife Faust started moving like the Rumblefish characters, I think that might fit Faust in Strife, but it wouldn't fit him anywhere else.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. What else can we really say? Monetization in MK12.
Yeah, monetization, that's a whole different thing, right? Because that's an argument of like, well, do we count that? Because like, are we talking about the fighting game itself, the gameplay, or are we talking about the product in general? Because if we're talking about the product in general, there's also the matter of like content, as we were just discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Tekken 7 definitely feels worse gameplay-wise than Tekken 5 or Tekken Tag Tournament 2, as we have talked about before. But other than that, just raw gameplay, Tekken 7, and obviously the things about the rage system and so on. But outside of that, Tekken 7 is not a bad game. Except when you look at the content where there's not a lot of it. But in terms of just like getting in there and playing with your friends, Tekken 7 is not a bad fighting game. Getting in there and playing competitively, Tekken 7 is not a bad fighting game. But in terms of offering real single-player content for the player to play by themselves and enjoy, Tekken 7 has very little, at least compared to other Tekken games.
Yeah, I mean,
and similarly, like we can go even further beyond and point out something like, oh god, what's that? What's the fighting we were just playing like a couple months ago? Punch Planet. Punch Planet. Yeah. Perfectly fine game to play with your friends. Single player, there is no reason to play it. There is absolutely no reason to play it. There's literally zero content. You can play against the AI, and I don't know if the AI is even any good, because why would you play against them?
The AI hasn't been implemented yet. They just stand there menacingly.
Yeah. Just automatically parries everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going the other way, but like my mind went to like, remember that that hack of Mortal Kombat 3 on the Mega Drive?
Knocking on my door.
All right.
I want to pause the recording.
Yeah.
Just got a package.
Yeah. All right. So where was I? Shit.
Content. Punch Planet has no content.
Oh yeah. My mind went to the opposite way, where like you remember the Mortal Kombat hack that we played on the Mega Drive through Fightcade?
Vaguely, yes.
Do you remember the meat character, where when you loaded in it was Noob Saibot, but he died immediately?
Oh yes, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what the AI in Punch Planet does.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, like I would argue that for something to be objectively good or bad, I mean, like, there's an argument to be made here about art, and like, does art have to serve a purpose and stuff like that. I don't think either of us have the right doctorate to properly argue either thought process, but the easiest way for us to objectively quantify something being bad or good is looking at it, viewing it as a product.
Yeah.
And so I would argue that we need to look at the content. We need to look at the monetization, how it affects the game, because monetization will affect the game. It will change game design. Maybe not in fighting games as much, but definitely it does affect. Definitely does affect game design overall.
Yeah.
Why do you think Ed Boon removed the option to dress yourself? Because he wanted to buy all of your clothes.
People wouldn't buy anything at all if the Mortal Kombat characters just started naked.
No. People wouldn't buy anything if Melina started naked.
That's true, but I think that you can extend that a little further. I think people would prefer that Shujinko wear clothes.
Yeah, Melina and Geras.
Sub-Zero. I've definitely seen some people go nuts for Sub-Zero.
Oh, I haven't.
He's just a nice guy.
He's just an. I fucked it up. Whatever.
I know.
You get the joke.
Yes. Boo. Oh boy. All right.
So anyway. But yeah, because for all of its faults, for all of the faults that people say Mortal Kombat 12 had, which maybe I am a bit biased towards it or whatever for it, because I didn't play a whole lot of Mortal Kombat 12. We played it once, and what I did play did feel interesting, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind, I am looking at it as a Mortal Kombat game. The game still felt like S, but that's because the way Mortal Kombat does dialogue combos feels like S to me. So I just kind of disregard that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the game felt a lot more open and a lot more interesting, a lot more fun than MK11.
Yeah. Well, MK11, of course, was designed to go as hard as possible in a complete opposite direction from player freedom. Mortal Kombat 11 makes Street Fighter 5 feel like the player has a lot of freedom.
Yeah. And that. And the major problem that I saw people have, aside from just the generic gameplay sucks, which okay, that isn't really descriptive enough of an issue to really give your opinion any whatchamacallit, weight.
To a certain degree, there will always be fans of the smaller variety of fighting games and poverty games, especially, who are going to look at Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat and say, why do these guys get very popular games that enter the mainstream and become iconic and we don't?
Yeah.
That will always happen. And conversely, there will always be Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat fans that look at how smaller fighting games will generally have fan bases that present more of a united front. In large part, smaller fan bases are generally going to present a more united front than bigger fan bases because they're scared that their games might not exist one day, so they need to defend them, right?
Yeah.
So to a certain degree, bigger communities will always look at smaller communities and be envious of that. That you can log on to the social medias and just have memes and fun times and interesting discussions. And not, my character suck, give buff, everyone else character too good, give nerf.
Yeah.
Or the classic, which you will log on to any big game social media and see any given day, is, they've gone too far this time. I'm done playing this game. I'm done playing Tekken. I'm going to Street Fighter. And it's like, yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
It is very important that Harada knows that I'm playing the game very, very his fucking bartender is getting a work.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So
Oh.
yeah. Oh yeah, the thing that I wanted to bring out from all of this is that like the major thing that I saw people actually point to towards it pushing them away from MK12 was the monetization and the things that it affected.
Yeah. Yeah, which is 100% fair. They fucked that all up.
And like, you know, there's
100% we're hoping that they would make loads of money through FOMO by not having costume packs and instead having where like, oh well, you know, you bet if you want your reptile dressed up as a Christmas elf, you better go now because he might not be here by this time. You know, he may never be here again. Oh.
Yeah, they wanted to utilize FOMO, but instead they utilized FOLS.
All right, yeah, that was really stupid, and like, you know what makes me really mad about it?
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 12, 1, whichever, is like the first Mortal Kombat in forever. There was like, let's have DLCs that bring back costumes from games that aren't MK1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Because we've had MK9, MKX, MK11 all had DLCs or what have you. They were like, here's the costumes for, you know, Liu Kang from MK1, Kung Lao from MK3, Jax from MK2, yada, yada, yada. But we never had until MK12 DLCs that were like, okay, you want Samurai Sub-Zero back? You want Shredder Sub-Zero back? We know you want him.
Shredder Sub-Zero was in it was in X.
Was he?
I think so, because that's the only version I used. If memory serves.
Hang on, I gotta look this up. I don't remember that, and I played Sub-Zero so friggin' much. No, I'm looking at a list of his costumes, and no, the Shredder Sub-Zero was not in MKX.
Okay, I'm mixing it up then.
God, now I gotta look up like what costumes he got in MK11 because, like, oh well, what if he had one there? Good lord, MK11 had so many alternate colors; it was ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, he did have a very Shredder design and alternate costume he could unlock in MKX.
Okay, then that's probably why I'm mixing it up. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. They did add that. All right, well, points to him.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say where NRS will go forward with that. What stuff? We'll see. Anyways, yeah, MK1, that's very clearly something that went on there that's... I mean, to a certain degree, you can also see where, like, sometimes outside context problems cause problems for the fighting game when it's just controversies tied to the game. Fatal Fury. Hey, why did Fatal Fury probably not do so well? It's probably because there is Saudi dick just rubbed all over it. The prince has just come all over this shit. And also, hey, you know what this game really needs? A real-life rapist.
Yeah. It really, like, what Fatal Fury was missing for all this time, why it wasn't as well received as it could have been, is because it didn't feature a real-life rapist and my buddy Mark.
Yeah. Marvel Infinite. Would Marvel Infinite have probably done better if people weren't comparing it to the previous entries? That's one question. There's also Marvel Infinite had a lot of stupid controversies tied to it, of the developers putting their foot in their mouths, and Chun-Li's model being even more monstrous than the one we wound up getting. She looked like a fucking Cabbage Patch doll. Do you remember that shit?
No.
Oh, it was terrible. She was the one face that they actually changed because they went like, okay, yeah, fans are right about this one. But that did, of course, lead to, like, they never fixed Dante's face. So Dante in Marvel Infinite still looks like a heroin addict.
He's just he's method acting his voice actor. It's fine.
Wait, Ruben Langdon won't let the vaccines in via the syringe, but he will let the heroin in.
Yeah. Similarly, why do you think that Ken is on the fucking streets now?
Yeah. Well, Ruben Langdon was on the streets of Brazil trying to look for alien Nazis or something, and he was getting into fights. I don't even remember what the fuck that was.
I mean, they're very easy to make here that he wanted to join them, but
oh shit. This is probably going to be highly controversial, but luckily we don't get any viewers. The only things Ruben Langdon did that were cross with people is that he believes in conspiracy theories that are not necessarily super racist, and he's anti-vax, right?
it started out as that, and then he actually went over into just being like racist, if memory serves.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I only heard anti-vax for a while, and then people saying like he can't play Dante or Ken anymore because he's anti-vax, and that's all I heard.
Yeah, it was that. Like, so he was just like a conspiracy nut, and people laughed at him because he was a conspiracy nut, but he was a harmless conspiracy nut.
Been.
But he was a harmless conspiracy nut. Then
yeah, this has been a known thing for like 15 years now that Ruben Langdon's like a nut job conspiracy theorist. But everyone just kind of looked at it and went like, "Oh, Ruben."
Yeah, and then he became anti-vax, and then people went, "Okay, maybe he's getting dangerous." And then, if memory serves, last I heard, people said that he's also become anti-Semitic, or something like that.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I guess that is a logical follow-up on conspiracy theorist. Oh, shit. Oh, well, hey, you know what? Johnny Young Bosch and Dan Southworth are still cool, to my knowledge.
Yeah, for now.
And Capcom has hopefully learned not to trust Dan with secrets anymore, because holy shit, Dan. Like, it's a good thing Virgil's existence doesn't have to be a secret anymore, because, yeah, whoops.
Yeah.
In order to keep things safe, Dan Southworth in the future will not be allowed to get into the voice acting booth until the game is already shipped.
Virgil
will just be mute until they patch in the voice acting.
Virgil's voice lines will be said by Johnny Young Bosch, doing a bad Virgil impression until Virgil's actual lines are patched into the game.
So they're all Johnny Young Bosch?
Yeah.
By all means, get the money, sir. But it is so bizarre that Netflix was like, yeah, Johnny Young Bosch is our Dante. And it's like, well, you guys, well, you have to be aware of Nero, Mr. Shankar, right?
Nah, he doesn't exist in my world.
That's true.
Nero doesn't matter. He's with the Bush administration. Anyway.
What room is there for Nero when we live in a society?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, fighting games. I think we've actually discussed like most facets of what makes a bad fighting game bad. That's you.
Yeah.
And like usually,
it's hypothetically a discussion that could just go on forever.
Yeah. And like, the thing to note here the thing to note here is one that we already had, which is that usually most fighting games do not make all of these missteps at the same time.
Yeah, it's God. When you talk about the games that have made most of the missteps, I think we can think of a few. Street Fighter 5.
Shaolin versus Wu-Tang.
Actually, it missed most of the missteps we mentioned. It just made its own.
Yeah. I mean,
no monetization problems with Shaolin versus Wu-Tang.
Did you see? So I Steam recommended me Shaolin versus Wu-Tang 2. It's a thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, they kind of just shut down the discussion because, like, what do you say that's worse and relevant?
I guess nothing. All right. Well, I suppose then, folks, fighting games were.
Yeah, I guess fighting games were then.